ain't afraid no more. I ain't afraid to sing. And if the words are clear, I know that I can sing. Busting out the rules that they control. Busting out a love from my soul. Busting out a dream that won't be so. I said no. Busting fair. Busting fair. Busting fair. Busting fair.
Well, thank you again, Bobby Lee, for always being present and available to share that song. And
You're welcome,
he
Carol.
did share with me tonight he's going to take some time off because he has to attend to some other affairs in his life. And not that that's for other women, but it's
It is
other family
only one
business
woman
that
for
he
me.
has to take care of his family. So he will be gone for a while. So we just want to say how much we appreciate him always being so faithful to be here to help out with the music and working with the sound. So we appreciate that greatly, and we wish you well, and we look forward to your return.
Well, I'll be here for another week, Carol.
Okay.
So it's like, but thank you so much. I have absolutely fallen head over heels for you ever since I met you. You guys are, both of you girls are just awesome. I love being a part of this, and I have truly loved getting to know you.
Oh, thank you.
You both are just incredible ladies, and I'm honored to be here.
Did you hear that, Mike? You have competition. Of course, he's married to Valerie, which also helps out in the
Yes, it does.
sound room at times.
I love her to death.
Yeah. The other thing I want to say is that one of the gentlemen that helps out here with the camera work, his father has had a heart issue, and so he's in the hospital. And that is Luke. I don't think, no, Luke is on the bartending 101 for drugs. And he helps out with the camera work for Busting Fair and Underground. And he's not here tonight because he needs to be with his father, who is in the hospital. And it sounds like it's very serious from what Adrian said. So we want to send our thoughts and prayers and our loving support to Luke as he goes through this time.
Absolutely.
And then tonight, I'm going to say just a little bit, and then I'm going to turn it over to Dixie. She has a book that she's read, and she thinks it's very significant to share that information. First thing I want to share is that there, and it goes along with this Jade Helm thing that's happening with the military and declaring somebody, I'm not sure, is declaring states, terrorist states like Texas, Utah, Oklahoma, and the Walmarts have closed down. And was it Simon Atkins? Is that his name? The gentleman that we listened to, Dr. Simon Atkins. And he's been sharing some information. And Dixie just listened to the second interview.
Yes.
So, which I have to catch up on. And he talks about this intergalactic wave that's hitting us here on the planet right now. And it can affect us physically and mentally. And I have to share with you that we did go to our chiropractor a couple of weeks ago, and I mentioned to him how my sleep is being affected. I'm having a lot of trouble about 3-4 times a week getting to sleep. I can't go to sleep till about 5 o'clock in the morning, and my mind just won't shut off. And he says, I can't sleep either. I know about this galactic wave, and it's being affected by, he's being affected, it's affecting his sleep. The other thing that Dr. Simon Atkins said is that one, get as much sleep as you can. If you need to sleep, do it. And the other thing that can be effective is your intuition. And I have to share with you that my husband, Michael, and I have been noticing that we are in sync with things that are happening to us. We will say things at the same time. We might be watching a TV show, and I'm thinking a question, and Mike will say the answer. And this is happening more often than normal. I mean, it's, you know, at least every other day, sometimes a couple times during the day. And he's noticed it too, so it's just not me. noticing these things. So, and he said that as this energy comes in, it's going to affect the body and how your body responds. And it might be connected with this military that you're starting to see all over the United States, because if people can't handle this energy, they are expected, they might go a little wacky. And that could affect 10 to 17% of the population. So my understanding is that the military are in place should people go off the rails and get a little wacky. Just be aware it could be because of this. I don't know if it's true or not, but I just noticed in my own life that things are a little bit different. I do want to put out the phone number right now. This is a live call-in show, and Dixie says someone might be calling in, which would be really wonderful. So the number is 360-693-7544, 360-693-7544, and it is up on the screen there. And I also want to share a little bit more information about this Jade Helm military artificial intelligence galactic thing happening. Whatever that is, I don't know. But if you have the information, at least you're prepared. When you start noticing things, get off. One of the first things you should not do is do not buy into any of the things, for instance, guns, race riots, gay issues. Don't get involved in that stuff. Don't react to it. And if you start to react to it, just pull yourself back. Don't do anything. Just be calm. Walk away. Smoke some pot if you have to. We can do that here in Vancouver. I personally don't do that, but whatever you do, don't get involved, because the news is trying to stir people up to be reactive. And that's what I think our government is kind of hoping for. I'm not really sure. But anyway, there's a lady, and I've just put this last link up on DivineDominoes.com. And it's about an hour and a half presentation, and she talks very calmly and methodically, but you must listen to it. She has put together the link between Jade Helm, the Walmart's closing, the map of the military tunnels under the United States, and she is saying that the Walmarts, the Home Depot, and the Lowe's are built in these square configurations so that things can be easily set up if the military needs to use those as bases of operations. And supposedly there are tunnels connected with supplies and support for living all throughout the United States. So I'm just saying, just be calm, be aware, pay attention, but don't get hooked in, and just keep yourself centered as much as you can. Walk in dirt, hug a tree, whatever you need to do. Just stay calm. And this is going to be happening probably till about the 3rd week of September. So whether it's true or not, it doesn't matter. If it happens, you're prepared, so that you can just take care of yourself and your friends and your family and help them through this time too. So that's all I'm going to say about that. And I'm turning it over to Dixie to share what she's learned about or understood about the book, The Forgotten
Promise.
Oh, the promise. Oh,
The Forgotten Promise.
Oh, the Forgotten Promise. I'm sorry. I could only see the Forgotten on
Yes,
there.
that's
The
true.
Forgotten Promise. Okay.
Anyway, here's the book called The Forgotten Promise, and it's written by Sherry Wilde, and her last name is spelled Wilde. And anyway, it's I'll explain a little bit about here. This, it's called The Forgotten Promise, but it's also about rejoining our cosmic family. Okay. This book explores the abduction experience as recounted by many humans who are taken from our third-dimensional world to an interdimensional encounter with alien beings, extraterrestrials. The memory of that encounter is shielded from their consciousness for their own sanity. Now, I have to say, I have read 2 or 3 books of humans that actually did remember the encounters, and they couldn't block their memory. Anyway, this book takes you beyond the fear, and remember, we are Busting Fear,
Yay!
to find the meaning and purpose behind the interactions with beings from another world. This book also shares with you the 3 important messages the extraterrestrials insisted Sherry, the author, learn. Number 1 is we are one with our Creator. We are one with all living things, all living things. Not just nature, not just the pretty things, not just people we like, but all living things, all sentient beings everywhere throughout the universe. I had to look up sentient a long time ago, but it means that we have feelings and perceptions. We need to integrate this concept into our very being. And let me read from the book. Okay, I need to have it here. Okay, this is an example. A man was sitting at a kitchen table. It might have been my father. This is Sherry talking, writing the book. I was positioned behind him and above, looking down over his shoulders, so I never saw his face. His large hands were out in front of him, resting on the red and white checked tablecloth, and there were dining utensils sitting near his right hand. Suddenly, he picked up the fork with his right hand and stabbed it deeply into his left hand. It was shocking and very jarring for me to witness. It upset me very much. Calmly, Da is a being that came to Sherry and that she has written about in the book. Da is a extraterrestrial, probably a guide for her. Anyway, she says calmly, Da stated, "This is what you do when you harm another person. You may as well do to yourself and the very thing you think you are doing to another, because that is exactly what you are doing. You are doing it to yourself because there is no difference between you and any other living thing. We are all one." So, anyway, basically, it's just that we're all connected energetically, and when we say bad things about another person, it actually hurts us. And when we harm another person, stab another person, we're actually like stabbing ourselves.
In the Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, he talks about black magic. And black magic is when you disparage another person.
Yes, and
You can't hear me?
It-
Oh! Where'd it go? Oh,
anyway,
they couldn't hear me, Dixie. I don't know where to go.
well, I'll continue here. Number 2, we are multidimensional beings on multiple levels. We are existing on more than one level at a time. And let me give you an example of this. Imagine a huge onion here. And you've got a pencil, a sharp pencil, you're going to put it right into the middle of the onion. And now if you put a pencil down the core of the onion, then that is the example you or your essence or life force, you or your essence or life force are the pencil, and you have many layers around you. That's what the onions are. They have many layers. They're made up of many layers. So it's kind of like if we're multidimensional and we have, and multiple levels, we're like an onion. We've got lots and lots and lots of experiences going on around us, more than experiences. Anyway, so let me give you another example. This was told to me by a guy many years ago, and I asked him about time travel, and he said, you take a line from here to there, and he said, that's your soul. And every single dot on that line is a lifetime. And you can go from this lifetime to that lifetime, to that lifetime, to that lifetime. So even though we're not talking about time travel tonight, it kind of gave me an understanding of time travel in a sense, because we're multidimensional, we're in multiple layers, levels, and so even though it doesn't seem like it because we're right here, right now, there are people that have the ability to go to another place in another time.
I'd like to add about, I finished the series on Netflix, Sense8 by the Wachowskis. And it was these 8 people that were connected and communicate and actually sort of teleport and be in the circumstances, and then that person could teleport back to the other person situation. And in the end, they all made their connection, but they each had different skills and ability, and they all showed up just in the nick of time to save the person that was in trouble. And so I got to thinking about that, and I realized, and you're part of this, I have my own Sense8 group.
Okay.
We're all connected. You have meetings about once a month. We get together, we share some things that are going, but all of us are moving forward in the same connection, and we know that if we should need any help or assistance or need to talk, we can call on each other at any time. The circle that I function in is not outside of that Sense8 experience. I have that Sense8 experience with you, with Michael, with the station, with everything, so we can be in that space. It's a metaphor.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes.
Great example. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example of some things that have been happening to me over the last couple of years or so. I will be sitting, I don't know, thinking, drinking, I used to drink my coffee. I don't anymore because I know that it's not good for me. Anyway, I'm just sitting there and suddenly I have a thought, oh, I forgot something. It was there. And then suddenly it goes away. And it's like, but I thought that was real, but yet it's not real. It's like, oh my goodness. Well, this happens more recently.
I can give you an example of that.
Okay.
Some people, when Nelson Mandela was released from prison,
Yes.
I thought he was dead. Other people thought he was dead too. So it's like you had different experiences in one moment.
Different timelines.
Different timelines experienced in one moment. And then when it was announced that he was released out of prison, he's in prison? He got out of prison? I thought he was dead. And I'm not the only one that thought he was dead.
Yeah.
So there was some kind of event in my life that caused me to think that, and I have no memory of what would have caused me to think that.
Well, I have had a couple of people that I thought also had died, but they're still alive.
Maybe their other self in that other dimension died, and that was a fleeting moment thing.
And remember, we had Andrew Bashago on.
Yes.
And he talked about teleporting, but he also talked about that there were times when he couldn't quite figure out where he was, and I think that that's an interdimensional. I don't know.
Moment.
Moment, trade-off, something like that. So anyway, let's see. we are experiencing different lives at what we consider to be the same time. Okay, I'm going to read a little bit from
We have a
Oh.
caller. All right. Let's see. Hello, caller. You're on the air with Busting Fear with Dixie and Carol. Do you have a question?
Well, I have a comment. I bought the book with Dixie, and I have a comment that I wanted to bring out, which fits into what they're talking about.
Please do.
Okay, it's on page 167. It's our job at this particular juncture in humanity's development to bring all the aspects of ourselves, all those multidimensional selves, into alignment. Oh, geez.
You might want to turn your
Yeah,
TV
I'm
down
going to read. Jeez.
or your computer down. We hear it in the background there. Are you back with us, caller? Are you back with us?
Yeah, I was listening. I don't know. I didn't know that I wasn't live.
You are live.
Oh, I am live.
Yes.
it just it comes off slightly after. Anyway,
Just a second. Sorry about that. Okay, it's time to awaken and time to bring all those many slivers of light together into a mighty beam of light and love. If you picture your core essence as a pillar of light, you will be close to the truth. But now, come in close to that ray of light and see the parts of it where there is a disconnect, and the other places where there is little chunks of matter blocking the light and keeping you from flowing freely. These are the places that you're harboring grievances and carrying around pain from the mistaken belief another one has wronged you. When you realize just how impossible that is, there is nobody else out there. Remember, there's only one of us. See what that does to your feelings and about being a victim. And that we believe and that we believe what has been done to us, we really did to ourselves. It cannot be otherwise. Now this is the time to come to this awareness. Now is the time to clean up that channel of light and let go of the blocks. It is time to let go of your light flow freely between dimensions of our being and upwards through the higher dimensions and home to oneness, home to God. Now, the next phase is what Dixie's going to get into, is monitoring your thoughts. This is real critical with the whole concept to get this very important message across, to monitor thoughts, because we are one, which ties into what Dixie was talking about in the beginning, that we are one-dimensional being living on other. We are one. We are multidimensional beings existing at more than one level simultaneously, and they were one with Creator. So it's a whole huge thing that we all need to be aware of, what our thoughts are, and that we are one. And thank you, Dixie, for bringing this up. It's a beautiful book, and I highly recommend it as well. It brings about a lot of shift, change in our consciousness to be aware of what we're thinking about and how to move out of the fear density. Thank you for letting me be on the show.
Well, thank you for calling in.
thank you, Annie.
And also, I think we need, rather than just watching your thoughts, you need a mind practice to heal the mind. And one of the things that has done me a lot of good is forgiving fear. It's called fearless forgiveness. Anytime that comes up, anxiety, apprehension, fright, anything, forgive it.
Okay, I'm going to read, we'll go back to number 2, and I just want to read just a little bit more from what Annie had said. Let me just see here, that we are multidimensional beings on multiple levels, and it says, the spark of light that exists in each and every soul is the divine. We are simply God experiencing himself, the Creator playing in his creation. We are eternal beings, and that is the truth of who we are at our core. Then it says, by remembering the true essence of who you are and realizing that your connection to Source can never be broken is where you will find deep, unshakable peace rather than fear. Okay, so the third lesson that she really needed to learn, and she's passed on to us, is to monitor your thoughts. And hold on. Everything that is happening in the world is a result of our thoughts. Every thought that every person has creates an energy stream, and it brings about the life we consider to be our reality. Okay, and I'm going to read a little bit here. The reason our planet is one filled with pain, trauma, war, disease, and disasters is because of one simple reason. Our thoughts, our fear-based thoughts. Remember, our show is about busting fear. We project these ideas out, and they are mirrored back to us in the form of seemingly physical experiences. Unfortunately, the validation created by having our fearful thoughts mirrored back to us in the form of life experiences also contributes to the downward spiral. We believe the world is an unsafe place and that we can be harmed, and so we project that. It becomes our reality and therefore reinforces the fearful thought and creates more fearful thoughts. No wonder our world is in such a state. What we need to do, we need to turn our world around by changing the effect rather than the cause. And I will use the analogy most often used in trying to explain this concept. Think of a movie. You cannot change what is happening in the movie by going up and messing with the screen, the effect. You need to get to the projector, the cause, and make the change there. So it is with life. Our life, that is our reality, the effect in the movie, and the projector is our thoughts, the cause. As A Course in Miracles puts it, you perceive from your mind and project your projections outward, and so it is that we cannot bring about change in this world until we change our thoughts. Also down here, they stress to me that all illness and disease originate in your mind, and that healing does not take place by fixing the body, but by changing your thoughts. The body is at the command of the mind. They drilled that into me as well. Visualization is a powerful tool, whether it is used to bring about a more healthy body or bring a wanted change into your life.
Annie, did you want to make any other comments?
Yes, I did. I was going to add to what she just said.
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay, I wanted to also include in that the bottom line to all of this is that we have forgotten that we're one with Source. We've forgotten our powerful beingness. We think we're separate, and that's one of the underlying causes of how everybody reacts the way they do. And when we have cured our ability to get into the dramas and be absorbed in the dramas, we won't have any reaction to what happens if there's something similar that comes along our path.
Yes, that's the principle I've been operating on, and I didn't even realize it until I had that first interview with Mike and Adrian before we actually launched that show. And the first principle must be to cause no harm. Then have no dogma and have no story. If you don't know what your dogma is, what's your story? That'll tell you what your dogma is. And so my dogma is to have no dogma, and that in itself is a dogma.
Being objective helps, and
yes.
Neutral, being very neutral.
Yes.
Because if we're we were talking about earlier, I think it was the other episode, where we're focusing in on a goal and we get the goal and we put all the energy in the goal, that takes our energy, our creative energy, off of the source. The source comes from within to create that energy to begin with. So just stabilize ourselves within source, within the energy, and not on the object on the outside, because that's the illusion that it is on the outside. It comes from within. By maintaining our stability within the consciousness of our enlightenment is how we can create smooth flowing experiences in life.
Thank you, Annie. That's
Yes, you're
beautiful.
welcome.
Beautiful.
Good show. Thank
Okay.
you for letting me come on. This is awesome.
Well, we're always open to letting you come on and talk with us. That was a nice treat. Really, really
thanks.
appreciate it.
Well, I always forget you guys are on. I'm sorry.
Well, you can always watch the archive show, but it's nice to have a live.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really fun. Thank you very much, you guys. I hope you have a good night.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks for calling in.
Uh-huh.
I guess we turn that off. So, go ahead.
Basically, I thought the book is about her being abducted from the time she was a small child and working up through the blockage of the memories, and then finally starting to remember things, and then she went to a hypnotherapist and that all came out. And but the critical part of the book is the 3 messages that they wanted her to learn and that we should all learn. So I really appreciate the book and I recommend it. It's called The Forgotten Promise by Sherry Wilde.
Yes.
Wilde.
I think you sent that link to me, and it was an interview with her for about 45 minutes.
Yes.
Yes, I listened to it, yes. And as you read some information there, I realized how similar that is to what is in Gary Renard's book, The Disappearance of the Universe, and how there's no one else out there but us. And we're responsible for this mess that we've created by realizing we've taken the fear and projecting it outward so we have something to blame, rather than accepting responsibility and to heal the mind so you no longer carry that fear.
Okay, sounds like a great
Okay.
plan.
Just a couple of things I want to add before we close down. Last week, we had a great conversation after last week's show when I shared some information on demystifying enlightenment. And Bobby Lee asked me, how did listening to that help me get to my enlightenment? Isn't that what you asked? And I didn't understand the question because I couldn't figure out what he was really asking me. And then I got to thinking about it through the week. It wasn't that it helped me get to my enlightenment. It was that I finally found 2 people that explained the process of enlightenment. Ken Wilber said you need your morals and your ethics have to be in alignment. And then the Wachowskis explained the journey of the enlightenment in metaphor in the movie, the Matrix movie. So it was someone explaining the process of enlightenment. And it's not necessarily one moment. It's a series of moments of becoming aware of the illusion, and that what you see through the illusion, you don't have to participate in it. For example, I gave the example last week about how I realized what a light year was, and realizing that where that star is, it's where it was 5,000 years ago. It's 5,000 light years away. So when you look at that and you talk about it, it's somewhere else. So you're actually looking at the past. And then I got to thinking, when scientists and astrologists or astronomers talk about what's going on out there, and yet they admit they know that there's things interacting on other things that they don't quite understand, they're not talking about what's really going on because they can't really see it in real time. Isn't that interesting? So they're actually talking about an illusion. And I'm not saying that what they talk about isn't pertinent or isn't scientific, because probably most of it is, but they're not getting the full picture of it. Yes, go ahead, Bobby.
Is it an illusion or is it reality 5,000 years from
Talking to
now?
your mic.
What is it? Is it an illusion? or is it reality in the past?
Yeah, that's what I think it is. It's an illusion
is
of
real.
yes, they talk about it like it's now though, but it's not. It's actually the past that they're talking about.
That's a trip. That's a song.
Okay,
right there.
Mike says they can't hear you if you don't talk into the mic, and they're
Okay.
going to shut the show off. All right. One other thing. There was a question about why did I mention E.T. and the discussion by the Wachowskis. It wasn't me mentioning it. It was the Wachowski or Lana talking about the aesthetics of the movies, and she was saying that at the time when E.T. the Extraterrestrial came out, that was the aesthetics of the day. And the movie Blade Runner challenged the aesthetics of the E.T. movie. So, and they added, when you forge new aesthetics, you are remembered. I mean, how can anybody forget this Matrix movie? I mean, I probably watched the first one 10 times because my understanding of things shifted as I went through my life and learned things. And then the other thing I think was very important, and I could never put this in words, critics do not identify symbols or their meaning in movies. And Lana says movies are nothing but symbols. So always remember there's some kind of lesson or movie to look at in the movie beyond what is going on in the movie. And I've noticed that with a lot of movies, especially the sci-fi movies. And always look at the background. They will put things in the background to notice. And I guess that's all that I'll say about that.
Okay.
So I hope that clarifies things, and go out forth and demystify your enlightenment and experience it to the fullest.
I ain't afraid no more. I ain't afraid to say. And if the words are clear, I know that I can say. Busting out the rules that they control. Busting out a love from my soul. Busting out a love that won't be so. I said no. Busting fair. Busting fair. Busting fair. Busting fair.